When my wife, Sarah, sat across from me at the dinner table that night, I could sense she had something heavy on her mind. She played with her fork, pushing food around her plate, avoiding my eyes. Finally, she exhaled and said, "I want to talk about our marriage. I think I want us to try an open relationship." The words cut through the silence like a blade, and I froze. For months, I had suspected her interest in exploring other men, but hearing it directly was still a shock. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I studied her face. She looked nervous but also strangely confident, as if she had been planning this speech for weeks. "Why?" I asked finally. She gave me a rehearsed explanation about freedom, about how love should not be confined, about how she wanted to experience life. To her, it sounded philosophical. To me, it sounded like betrayal wearing a pretty mask. What she didn't know was that her timing couldn't have been more ironic. For months, I had been quietly stepping away from our marriage myself. The loneliness she created with her coldness and late-night work meetings had driven me to someone else, someone who cared for me the way she no longer did. I had already found a girlfriend, and she was everything Sarah had stopped being. I leaned back in my chair and let her finish her monologue. She expected me to protest, to beg, or to argue about morals. Instead, I simply said, "That's fine, Sarah. But you should know, I already have a girlfriend." Her face went pale, her lips trembling as she tried to process the words. For a moment, she laughed, thinking it was a cruel joke. "You're lying," she said, her voice shaky. But when I calmly looked her in the eye and nodded, her laughter died. You've been cheating," she stammered. I replied, "You call it cheating. I call it filling the void you created long ago." The room grew tense, her shock turning into rage. "Who is she?" she demanded. I refused to answer. "That doesn't matter. What matters is, you asked for freedom, and I already took mine." Her hands shook as she slammed her fork down, furious that the control she thought she had was slipping away. For years, Sarah had held the upper hand in our marriage. Financially, socially, even emotionally. She had always assumed I would bend to her wishes, no matter how unreasonable. But now, she was the one blindsided. The thought that I had moved on before she could broke something inside her. She accused me of betrayal, of dishonesty, of destroying our vows. I reminded her gently, "You were the one who wanted the vows broken first. You just didn't expect me to beat you to it." The irony of her tears made me almost pity her. Almost. Over the following days, the house was filled with arguments. She threatened divorce, then begged for reconciliation, then swung back to anger. The truth she couldn't digest was simple. She wanted to be free, but she didn't want me free from her. She wanted me trapped while she explored. I, however, was done being her safety net. My girlfriend had shown me what real partnership looked like: respect, affection, laughter without constant tension. I no longer felt tied down by guilt. Every time Sarah tried to play victim, I reminded her of her original request. "You said you wanted an open relationship. This is what it looks like." Her friends, when they found out, were divided. Some sided with her, calling me a cheater. Others shook their heads at her arrogance, admitting she had asked for it. Slowly, the truth became clear even to her. She had gambled on my loyalty, and she lost. Eventually, Sarah filed for divorce, thinking it would scare me. But the relief I felt when the papers arrived was indescribable. She thought I would crumble. Instead, I signed without hesitation. Freedom, real freedom, was finally mine. Months later, I saw her at a cafe. She looked tired, older, her spark gone. She tried to smile, tried to act as if she was happy, but her eyes told another story. She had lost the man who once gave her everything, and all she had left was regret. As for me, I walked away from that meeting hand in hand with my girlfriend, who was now more than that. She was my future. And in that moment, I realized Sarah's request for an open relationship was the best gift she ever gave me. Because sometimes, the ending you fear is the beginning you need. And for me, that ending was the start of a life filled with the love and respect I had always deserved.